Hey there, everyone, and welcome back to your weekly crypto market update. My name is Brendan from the Crypto 101 team, and as Bitcoin is getting ready to hit new all-time highs, the crypto industry is seeing adoption like it has never seen before. Now, you're probably saying, Brendan, what do you mean by that? Well, just to give you a little bit of a glimpse of what we're going to talk about in today's video, we are seeing JP Morgan finally come around to the idea of crypto, saying, okay, enough's enough. We're going to be offering it to our customers. We're seeing countries and sovereign wealth funds from around the world not only get exposure to Bitcoin, but now to MicroStrategy as well. In fact, we have a whole list that I want to go through in today's video. We're seeing Microsoft saying that they're going to be adding real-time blockchain data over into their company. This is a big deal. Kraken, an existing company, is saying, hey, we're going to be expanding what we're already doing to different areas of the world. We want to make sure that crypto has a global presence. And of course, we have to tune in over here with another very well-established company, Robinhood, expanding their potential crypto services, saying, hey, we want to actually try to tokenize a lot of these assets. We want to bring a lot of these TradFi assets on chain to potentially unlock a $30 trillion industry. So there's a lot going on. And at the same time, Bitcoin is pushing into the all-time highs. So I hope all of you are buckled up. I hope you're all strapped in because this is going to be an explosive video. So what's happening first here? Well, I think the thing that we care the most about is going to be price action, right? Are we making money? Are we losing money? Well, I'd say that just about every holder in Bitcoin's history is making money at the moment. Just the other day, Bitcoin pushed up to $107,000. You can see it right here on the chart. This means that Bitcoin was just $2,000 short, or just about 2% short from its all-time high of $109,000. This is a really big deal. This also marks the highest candle body closing on the daily chart in Bitcoin's history. We have wicked up to these prices before. However, they were very short-lived. Both times Bitcoin came up here. What we saw yesterday on Monday, May 19th, was Bitcoin's highest daily close in history. And I also believe this was Bitcoin's highest weekly close in history as well. That happened just at the start of this week. So Bitcoin is setting records. It's squeezing up into the highs. Pressure is building. And you can see that it doesn't take a rocket scientist. It doesn't take some kind of TA guru to look at this chart and say, hey, Bitcoin's clearly wanting to go for the highs. This was a huge accumulation period. We had the sell-off. We've attempted this. We've consolidated for a long time. And Bitcoin wants to expand upwards. Now, I don't think that it's a coincidence that we're seeing all this happen at the same time that we're getting so many different forms of fundamental catalysts and just positive news. Well, let's look at this. Because Standard Chartered came out recently, a huge player, if you're not familiar with who they are. But they said, hey, sovereigns, which is referring to sovereign wealth funds and countries, they are getting indirect exposure via MicroStrategy. And this is all growing. This is all happening, backing the $500,000 Bitcoin prediction. Now, this is a big deal. So let's go ahead and look at some of these. Well, Standard Chartered, which is a bank, by the way, is saying that this idea, this level of adoption is supporting our $500,000 Bitcoin prediction, which they set as a bank, right? As a TradFi bank. They're also coming in over here and saying, look at all the different countries that are not only getting Bitcoin exposure, but crypto exposure here, especially recently. So who do we have? Well, we have Abu Dhabi getting exposure through the ETFs. We have Sweden, France. We saw the state of New York, the state of Wisconsin, the state of Michigan, the state of North Carolina, Saudi Arabia, South Korea, Norway, Switzerland, Liechtenstein, California, Kentucky. And obviously, we know that this is just a fraction of the countries and sovereign wealth funds that have already gotten or been increasing their exposure. There's obviously all the big existing ones out there that have been doing this for a long time. Most notably, I think you could say maybe one of the smaller ones, but more notable ones is El Salvador, who's been doing this for a long time, right? And then you have the companies that have been expanding their Bitcoin approach. I don't know if you all have noticed this, but in recent months, there have been a number of new companies trying to copy the Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy, or now Strategy, approach. This is a good thing, right? I say that maybe in the wrong tone, but it's a good thing to see that all of these different companies, all these different millionaires and billionaires that are waking up and saying, hey, this has worked out quite well. It started with Michael Saylor. It moved on to Metaplanet. Now we're seeing all these other companies kind of copy this approach, and I'm all game for it. So what we're saying here is that, hey, internationally, we're seeing this happen in countries around the world. The sovereign wealth funds that they have are trying to gain a ton of Bitcoin exposure, but we're seeing it here on both the federal and a state level inside the United States. So pressure is squeezing, demand is most certainly ramping up, and we can tell that demand is ramping up because there's only been 2 TradFi players that have gone against the idea of Bitcoin and say, we're not sure if we want to allow it to our customers quite yet. And it's been Vanguard and JP Morgan. Well, now the $4 trillion financial giant JP Morgan is saying enough's enough. We're going to give customer services, or we're going to give crypto services to our customers, and that's just going to be a new thing. Now, this is a big deal. Again, not only are they one of the largest TradFi players out there, right? $4 trillion in assets under management is more money than I think any of us can fathom. But they're essentially one of the last gatekeepers to withhold crypto from their customers or crypto services. The only other one here is Vanguard, and all the pressure is on them. They're getting pressure internally. They're getting pressure externally. They know that they are losing out on money by not offering this. And everyone's looking at Vanguard saying, you're such a big name. When are you next? Fidelity's doing this. JP Morgan's doing this. BlackRock's doing this. Everyone is looking at it except for Vanguard. So the pressure's on. I think they're in a race against time here. And again, adoption is continuing. What we're also seeing, existing or maybe not crypto companies, but Robinhood, who has made crypto a pivotal part of their business, they're coming over here. And last week we talked about them acquiring WonderFi and expanding their crypto services in Canada. And they continue to take steps towards more crypto adoption with this headline. It says Robinhood submits that their SEC, or they submitted an SEC approval to regulate tokenized real-world assets, or RWAs. This is a very popular industry inside the crypto markets, aiming to bring Wall Street on-chain and unlock a $30 trillion market. So Robinhood wanting to get into the tokenization and real-world assets game. This is a big deal. This is something where if you're a member over here, you've probably heard us talk about a number of these RWA and tokenization-based cryptocurrencies. So Robinhood is doubling down on this bet and wanting to get more involved. Now, Kraken's not far behind. They're saying, hey, we're going to go for a new form of adoption in another way. Another exchange that we've talked about here lately. Kraken is saying, hey, we're going to be expanding our derivatives trading to the European Union. And this is a big deal as well. Again, more crypto adoption is happening every single week. And we can barely keep up with it all, which is a good thing. So the more that we get, the better. And I think the icing on the cake here is kind of getting into companies that have traditionally had a mixed opinion about crypto and Bitcoin. Some good, some bad. But Microsoft says, hey, we're going to be adding real-time blockchain data to Fabric through the space and time integration. Now, this is a big deal. Again, Microsoft has gone back and forth, and I'll put some more data about this on the screen. So if you're interested, you can read through it. Or if you're not familiar with it, you can read through it. But this is a big deal because, again, Microsoft has kind of teeter-tottered on this idea of Bitcoin. Do we adopt it? Do we support it? They did for a bit, then they didn't. They were thinking about bringing it on their balance sheet. They voted on it. They denied it. They've looked at crypto exposure. And again, they're kind of on this tipping point. And you can see that shareholders want them to do it. The board is kind of against it. They're saying, well, let's kind of dip our toes back in here, back into the water, and let's get some blockchain exposure. So is this direct Bitcoin exposure? Are they buying it like MicroStrategy is every single month? No, it's not quite that level, but they're saying, hey, we see the value in blockchain tech, and I think that's the first step in the right direction, is showing people the value first, and then I think the want or the need to buy it after that will come, secondhand. So what we're seeing here is, again, adoption from existing companies that are working with Bitcoin like Kraken and Robinhood, new companies like Microsoft that are just massive TradFi. I wouldn't even call them TradFi, but they're just like a traditional name, right? They're outside the world of cryptocurrency. We're seeing banks like Standard Chartered, and we're even seeing JP Morgan come out here and say, hey, the crypto market is here to stay. We want to offer this to our customers. We have these $500,000 Bitcoin predictions, and there's a lot of positive stuff happening behind the scenes. And this is all wow. If we zoom out over here, Bitcoin is consolidating towards the all-time highs. So, realistically, I think that this is something that we could see here by the end of this month. I wouldn't say that it's impossible to see before then, but I'm certainly looking at new all-time highs in the short-term future of Bitcoin. So, time will tell. I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing I ever say is financial or investment advice, but I think it's pretty hard to be pessimistic on the market given where we are sitting at in the moment. So thank you all for watching this video. If you did, hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll see all of you very, very soon. Now, if you're new here and you want to get plugged into a great crypto community, you might have remembered that earlier I was talking about how we've already talked about a lot of these RWA and these tokenization assets. Well, you can go down to the link in the description down below, and you can get access to our entire crypto portfolio for just $1 down there. So if you want to do that, we'll leave that there for everyone. And once again, thank you all for tuning in and watching this. And we're going to see all of you at the same time, same place next week.